Hey guys, it's Adrian over at BHA here. Alright, so bringing you another updated tutorial. This is how to install Homebridge and configure for Home Assistant. This is probably the last tutorial that I will do before Christmas. Hopefully I'll get a couple more out there before the end of the year. We'll see how things go. The first time I did this tutorial, I think it was my highest viewed on my channel. So I thought it was time to update it, try to cover everything a little bit better and get a little better quality video out there. This is a pretty intense video. There's a lot to it, kind of lengthy. I'll try to keep it as short as possible. Let's go ahead and take a look at what all we're going to cover in this video. So I am going to start by, of course, running updates like I usually do in my videos, making sure my system is completely up to date. Then we're going to install all the prerequisites that I think you will need in order to install Homebridge and have it run properly. Next, we'll be ready to install Homebridge. After that, we are going to install the Home Assistant plugin for Homebridge and configure it. And then we'll be ready to set up Homebridge as a service to run in systemctl. Once we have Homebridge up and running as a service, we will add it to the Home app. And lastly, we'll see it in action and see what that looks like. So let's get started. Alright, so first things first, as you all like to know, I prefer to run updates, making sure my machine is up to date. So we'll do a sudo apt-get update as well as a sudo apt-get upgrade. And I will kind of fast forward through all this just to keep this video moving. Alright, so updates are finished. We are ready to install all the different prerequisites I think you'll need in order for Homebridge to run properly. And I'll put all these in the description so you can just copy and paste them. In order to install Homebridge, it uses npm, which is a Node.js package manager. So we're going to install npm, Node.js, and nodejs-legacy. I'll go ahead and skip along here. So next on our list of prereqs is MDNS. I know there were a lot of errors that had to do with MDNS not working properly, so this should hopefully fix the issues with that. And again, I'll put all this in the description. Next, we're going to install node-gyp. We'll do this using npm. And lastly, here are several other pieces that I think that you'll need or will be helpful in doing this install. So build essential, probably already installed, but if not, it can't hurt to run it again. Libavahi-compat-libdnss-dev. Alright, so now that all of those prereqs are installed, we are ready to move on to the next step, which is install Homebridge. So we'll do a sudo npm install -g unsafe-perm homebridge. And since we got all those prereqs installed first, we should go through without any problems. Alright, so it looks like Homebridge installed successfully. So let's just run Homebridge just in the CLI here and make sure that it doesn't error out and everything looks right. So we just type in Homebridge and it should run. That gives you a few warnings, no problem. We don't have a config file set up or anything yet anyway. And as you can see, it's up and going. It's got the QR code there, or our code that we use for the Apple HomeKit. So we are up and running on our port 37905. So everything looks good. So we can escape out of that and move on to the next part, which is install the Home Assistant plugin and edit the config.json file for Homebridge. So we'll do a sudo npm install -g homebridge-homeassistant. This will install the plugin that we'll need to work with Home Assistant. Alright, that is done. Now we are ready to move over to our Homebridge directory. It's in the root of our home directory, so let's see, it should be cd-homebridge. And from there we can edit our config.json file. And of course it's blank because we don't have one yet. And again, I'll put all this in the description. You can copy and paste it in there and edit it as you need. Make sure that you have everything in quotes as you see here, as well as after each line you'll see a comma there, so make sure you put those in there. So the name, I'm just going to call it Homebridge. Username, this is just a MAC address so that it has one to use with the HomeKit app, so you can make up whatever you want. Alright, port. I think by default it is 51826. We're just going to leave it like that. And of course the pin, this is the pin that you'll use to add it into the HomeKit app. I'm just going to leave it what the default usually is. Alright, so platforms. The platform for this is going to be Home Assistant. And the name, again, we're just going to call it Home Assistant. The host, this will be the URL you use to access your Home Assistant. Make sure you include HTTP or HTTPS, depending on how you access it. password, of course, is our API key that we use for Home Assistant. And supported types, this is where you can limit what devices it will pull in. If you only want certain things managed by the Home app, you can limit what devices will show up there. I'm just going to add a few in here. Alright, so logging we'll set to true. Alright, we are done with the config.json. Let's move over and set up Homebridge in systemctl. So we'll do a sudo vi etc systemd system, and then we'll just say homebridge adrian.service. Alright. Again, I'll have all this in my description, so you can copy and paste it into your service file. Description, we're just going to call it nodejs homekit server. Service type equals simple. User equals %i. Alright, so exec start, of course that's the path to Homebridge. It should be in this directory here, user local bin homebridge. You can always do a where is before you open this up if you want to make sure that's the path. Restart equals on dash failure. We'll give it 10 seconds. Kill mode equals process. One and by equals multi-user.target. Now we should be able to exit out of this, save it, and let's go ahead and do a daemon reload here. So we'll do a sudo systemctl --system daemon-reload. Now we can enable our service. Now let's go ahead and start our service. And lastly, let's go ahead and check the status of that homebridge service just to make sure everything looks good. And it shows active, it's running, everything looks good. Let's move over and get homebridge added into our home app. Alright, so I'm on my iPad that I use at my house for my home hub here. And it's completely unconfigured for any devices, so we're going to go ahead and add in our homebridge. So we'll say add accessory. As you can see, there's our homebridge. We'll click on that. We'll say add anyway. And then we can hit enter code manually to type in our code. This will be the one that we added in the config.json file. Homebridge added. And now it should really start pulling in all these devices. Just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to kind of speed through all this because I added several different components to my supported types list. So we'll fast forward through all this. Alright, so we have got homebridge configured in our home app, and we are ready to test this thing out. So let's see what this looks like. Alright, so on the left here I've got Home Assistant, on the right I've got my phone. So I'm just going to turn the phone off in the app here, and you'll see it switched off in the Home Assistant configuration, and we'll do it the other way. And it turned it back on. So as you can see, they're linked together, everything looks good. That's the end of this video. Let's do a quick recap of everything that we did here for this video. We started out with running updates on our machine to make sure everything was up to date. Then we installed all of our prerequisites that would allow us to install homebridge and run correctly. Next, we installed homebridge. Once that was done, we went ahead and installed the Home Assistant plugin for homebridge and configured the configure.json file. Then we set up homebridge to run as a service in systemctl. Then we added homebridge to our Apple Home app so that it would start pulling in all the devices from Home Assistant. Lastly, we saw it in action to see what that looked like. Alright guys, well like I said, that is the end of this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, definitely hit me up in the comments below. I realize this video is pretty lengthy, and so there's a lot involved with it. If there are any other videos out there that you'd like to see that I don't already have out there, again, let me know, and I'll see if I can't get something put together for you guys. Otherwise, happy holidays to everybody, and I hope to see you around soon. Thanks.